Middice Crisis Hotline. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Middice Crisis Hotline. I'm Mongo Cross. I'll be your host for this evening. I have my co-host / producer, Eddy, on with us.
Hi, everybody.
Give a nice wave.
Hi.
We are going to be discussing episodes 1 and 2. Episode 1, Rats of Middice Crisis. In episode 2, that's a cold shot, baby. We have with us a couple of our player characters. At first, we are blessed by his mightiness. Let me introduce him in the only way I know how to properly introduce him. There are times when people may need a dungeon master, someone who can paint with the colors of the universe and control the powers that lie within the greatness of what? Oh, sorry. We're stuck with my buddy, my friend and yours, Mr. Justin, our dungeon master. If you go ahead and fire up your...
Hey, everybody. How are you doing?
Yay, Justin in the voices.
Yeah, this is my real voice. I use the deeper one for when I'm DMing.
Brings a certain gravitas. Where's your face?
My face? Oh, man. You want that? That's terrible. Hey, how you doing?
As Justin, he's our DM, gorgeous of face.
Eater of nuts.
I have eaten many nuts.
Speaking of which, tonight's episode is sponsored by the King's Nuts. Sweet and salty, and stick them in your mouth.
So good. So good.
Make sure to get your sack today.
I have to make the sacks now, right?
Oh yeah. Next we have Gordon, better known as Rusty, our gnome character. Always
me. Dapperly
topped with his I'm gonna call it what it is, a trilby. But we can call it a fedora. For a gnome, it's a fedora. For a Gordon, it's a trilby.
There you go.
Look, it was $1.99 at the thrift store is what it was.
That's what I'm talking about. See, smart shoppers, smart cosplayers, and we'll be getting into some stuff like that. And then last but absolutely not least, playing the greatest of races of all time, our resident dwarf in this particular campaign, playing as Haskar, Mr. Brian Simmons, everybody.
Woo, 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 woo.
Oh, I show my voice. Hey guys, how you doing?
So we have our amazing players as well as our DM, but we also have some special guests tonight, Mongo. We have 3 guests joining us that have watched our show and quite enjoy it and have a few questions for everybody. So
people have actually watched the show?
Yes, they've watched it and they have questions and comments about the show.
I bet they have them.
Why are you doing this? Why am I watching this?
We still have questions about the show.
What have I done? My God, why am I here?
Do you people have lives? Come on.
First time we
Would you like to introduce our special guest, Eddy?
Yes. So we're going to start off with Chris. He's a good friend of mine. He actually did the art for my character, Riona. He drew all of this little llama, my little character. Chris is coming from
or oats.
That is oats. No,
Oats?
this is oats.
Okay.
That'd be the
Yeah.
smarter one. Gotcha. Okay.
The smarter one. He's the
They
one who
still
sticks
spit.
close. No, they still spit, yes. But we have Chris joining us from Vegas. Chris, if you want to go ahead and turn on the camera and say hello.
Hi.
Hi, Chris.
Chris,
Look like a Chris.
Does this mean you have to stay where you are? Like because you happen in Vegas.
Oh,
What
that
happens
was
in
re-
Vegas stays.
That
that was
hurt.
really,
You-
really bad.
You are what you are really, really welcome.
I might have
Maybe
I might
next
have to
time.
mute you, Michael. I might have to mute your mic, Mongo.
We can cut this in post, right?
Yeah,
I'm a video and audio editor, so
I know. All right. So we also have Brandy joining us from Pennsylvania tonight. She watches our campaign. She's a close friend of mine. She has a few questions. Brandy, if you want to go ahead and say hi.
Hi guys.
Hi,
We'll try to-
Brandy.
Hey, Brandy.
She has a little cold, but she's here for us. She's going to talk to us.
I think
We
lost
have
our
another
third
guest, but she seems to have dropped out. Her phone might not be working, so she'll be joining us in a little bit. Why don't we start off with Chris? Chris, what was you said you had a question for Rusty?
Yes, Rusty. So in the first episode, he is very much into lots of conspiracies. My question is, what was his first major conspiracy that
His conspiracies aren't just conspiracies. They're actually visions that he has. But he's not great at knowing which visions are real and which ones are not. So his first major vision was of the end of the world. And the girl with the comet in her hands, the dragons. Probably his first one that, wasn't that would have been the lizard folk ruling the kingdom as a underground government.
cool?
Sadly, he pulled that one from real life.
That was low hanging fruit.
Very low hanging fruit.
And my character's modeled loosely off of Dale Gribble from King of the Hill. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, so that's why the conspiracies.
Of course. That's funny. Brandy, who had the question for Haskar?
That was Kayla, but Brandy, go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah.
I just kind of wanted to know if you guys, for your characters, if you've always played these characters or if it's something new that you were.
That is a great
No.
question. That's a great question. I'll go ahead. Haskar, go ahead.
So I've been playing since second edition D&D. The last character I just got done playing was a pain in everyone's ass from our previous campaign. He was a monk.
and
a
Haskar
paladin.
is such a sav now.
He's such a nice guy. No, I played a paladin monk in the last campaign. I DM campaigns. Let's see, I played 3 monks in the last 3 years. I played a paladin. I played a lot. I used to play a fighter man like back in the original series. So, but I love D&D. It's a really good way for me to separate myself a little bit from reality and get out my pissiness and aggression on my character levels, and instead of basically yelling at my family and friends, which now are the people that I'm talking with now, because but I yell at them in a different way because it's a different person. But it's D&D's awesome. It's a great outlet. It's a lot of fun.
I feel that I do that with my kids too. I'm like, yeah, no, we're just gonna drive this somewhere else.
How about you, Rusty? Or Gordon, is Rusty a character that you would normally play?
Oh no, Rusty's actually completely atypical for me. I usually play some sort of melee fighter paladin, or lastly I played a druid. Playing a pure caster is very different. I know we haven't got into much yet, but most recently in our 1.5 year long campaign, I played a lizard folk druid. That was a lot of fun. That character was very easy for me to get into. I'm still finding my way into Rusty, So
Sorry, Grobthar's not supposed to be here yet.
Don't worry, Mongo. The first thing I thought of was he's trying to find his way into Rusty, but Rusty found his way into Riona's corset.
I feel that. No, I'm straight up a gnome character for almost everything I play. Just my personality just flows so well with them. So you can ask Eddie all about that one.
How about you, Eddie? Is Lady Hyrath kind of a stretch for
Lady-
you, or is she kind
No.
of
She's very close to home.
right?
As I'm sitting here
I taught
crocheting.
myself to knit and crochet as I talk to my critters every day, and
Yep. And I talk to my dogs every day. No, Brandy and Kayla have both been in campaigns with me, and I tend to go for Druid. I will say this is the first time playing a Druid in 5th edition, so I'm really happy to. I'm really excited and happy to see how this plays out. I usually don't play magic when I play in 5th edition. I usually play a fighter or a monk, something like melee. So this is going to be really interesting to be able to play that. It'll be fun. And I do miss playing with my friends, Brandy and Kayla, and maybe we'll start up a separate little secret online campaign soon.
And I think this is the first time I've seen you actually play a female too.
Yeah, she played a female in the last camp.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, I did play. I played a halfling female chaotic, and the entire time I was playing, I thought of my friend Brandy and her tiny gnome that lit me on fire as I threw her across the gorge.
Yeah, that would be an understatement.
see, now that sounds like something that your character in the last campaign would have done.
Brandy was a pretty good inspiration for my Elowen character. She used to play only gnomes and halflings, anything small that could be carried in a backpack.
Pretty
Oh.
much.
For myself,
or a corset.
I'm kind of like Brian, where I've been playing. You know, I am also old.
I said nothing about old.
I've been playing since 2nd edition, and if I were to pull out my character sheets from the past 35 years that I've been playing D&D, there would be you could divide them into 2 piles: the fighters and the not fighters. The fighters would be like that thick, and the not fighters would be that thick. And then you could take that big pile and separate it into dwarves. Well, it would all be dwarves.
I will say in the last campaign, what you were like half dwarf.
So last campaign, I did what Eddie's doing now. I played my character very close to my chest. He's and Justin and I go way back, and so he knows exactly what time of my life I pulled Grobthar from, that 19 to 28, 29-year-old range. Like Eddie Sticker, you know, good of heart but dumb of ass.
Yep.
But Grobthar was a half dwarf, half orc, and he would introduce himself as the only dork, which is honestly how I introduce myself in real life. I'll tell people that my father was an orc and my mother was a dwarf, and when they had me, they had one big dork. So yeah, the dwarven fight. So it's really a stretch for me playing a Viking cleric of good, you know, who's just trying to keep hope alive in a world going to shit real quick.
The key phrase there being good.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
annoyingly good.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
You even put Riona to shame.
Grobthar-
She's supposed to be the happy-go-lucky. You're just like, praise be everybody.
Look, Grobthar was a good guy. Okay. Grobthar was a good guy. he didn't always make great decisions, but he
I can think of several spectacularly bad ones.
Some involving you.
Most I can think of a swan dive in particular.
Dropstar was not the smartest in Toolshed. Justin, since we can't talk about anything future wise for the campaign, we're sticking to episodes 1 and 2. Having been our main DM for the past year and a half, are you enjoying the differences in our characters and how we're role playing them?
My main enjoyment comes from seeing you guys try to, as was said earlier, fit into your characters. That's so cute how you guys are like, oh, new character, who dis? But I mean, there's also a lot that's changed. We've had out of the original crew that played for the year and a half, we had someone who dropped out, a couple new players. I've introduced some, the others were introduced by Gordon and Brian. Plus I was a brand new DM, so this time I actually have an idea. Not a good idea, but it's an idea.
You also know that your improv chops are just as good as they ever were.
Oh God, I have to be with you guys.
We are indeed the rule of the best laid plans of mice and men.
Yeah, almost
Best laid
daily.
mice of planning,
Yes,
and
that-
yes.
Definitely, yes. Mice with attention deficit disorder. Eddie, do we want to see if Kayla's back?
Yes. Kayla,
Kayla,
I
you
think
back?
she has her camera ready and her microphone ready. Kayla, if you want to go ahead and turn on your camera and your unmute yourself, you can go ahead and say hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay,
Hello.
thank God. It took me forever to actually figure out how to turn you guys on to where I can hear you.
I'm
It's
really
not
not
really
that
that
hard.
hard.
All you gotta do is
It
tell me
doesn't
I'm
take
pretty.
much.
Honey, you know how to turn me on. We know this.
Actually,
course.
it's this simple. Yes. Because
So-
consent is sexy. Anyway, go ahead.
So this is Kayla. She's coming to us from California. She is my sister. She's been watching the show, and she actually has a question for Haskar.
Oh, yay.
You.
I actually wanted to know how Hasgard got his scar.
So Haskar was in war. There was a small war that happened beforehand that Haskar volunteered to go into. His backstory is still a little bit shadowed. He hasn't really shared it with anyone. But the reason he got out of the war is he had gotten received a wound from the edge of his eye across his throat, down his cheek. It almost killed him, and he spent about a year plus recovering. But that's how he met. Eddy's character is through the war. That's how he got to know him. Yeah, Haskar's even my DM doesn't know all the backstory about Haskar yet. He's got a little bit of intrigue going to him, and I did it on purpose because last time on the last campaign, I literally vomited my backstory to Justin repeatedly. And so this time I'm kind of playing a little bit more close to chest. So things will come around about Haskar that a lot of people don't really see yet, that the players haven't seen yet, that our DM hasn't seen yet. Probably he's not looking forward to it, but hey, he'll probably use it against me.
So far, he's become my favorite character. So.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Yeah, I like when I came up with him. It was I went through well, you can ask Justin. I went through I think like 60 different character renditions, like 3 of which he told me there's no way in hell I could play, and the first one was Haskar, and I kept coming back to him, kept coming back to him. He's a lot of fun. I normally in our last campaign I talked a lot because some of our players were brand new and some of them were didn't know, and I felt like I had to talk to make the void appear, and now I don't have to because we've known each other for a year and a half and we're all comfortable. And so I can just sit there and not talk. But I think I think that between me and Eddie's character, we have a lot of really good moments
Mhm.
that we don't have to talk a lot about because she does it all.
Okay.
That's the
That
best part
works.
about Riona. She'll speak for you.
Actually, Eddie, I want you to if you can make a note of this,
Mhm.
and we'll kind of keep track of it as we go along, and talk to and talk to more people, because I want to have a couple of guests and our fellow PC characters. If you guys have people that are watching the show that want to come on or whatever, by all means invite them. But I'm going to put this out there for everybody. Thinking of episodes 1 and 2, what we have up. Who is your favorite character? Like, I even want to hear from the PC guys. Like who's your favorite character so far? Like who's really nailing it to the wall?
I got that hands down. It's tied between two people. It's tied between Harry and Eddie. The owlbear as a character was honestly, I was really skeptical to say the least. But he does a really good job of it. And Riona is literally the exact opposite of Eddie's last character, which is really cool. And she's super sweet but super naive, and just she still kind of causes a little bit of chaos because of the naivete. But I think it's
also the player character.
Yeah. But I think she's a lot of fun.
And I agree with Brian. I love Scrack. Scrack is just amazing. The fact that we have an awakened owlbear in our campaign that actually works with us.
The fact that we let our DM let us have an awakened owlbear in the campaign.
What were you drinking?
What you guys can't know, and I really wish that there was a way we could have done it. But what's really funny is in the first 2 episodes, Harry the human talked and role played more
in the first
2 episodes than his first 8 months of of playing a half human dragonborn wizard with a clawed dragon arm, son of Tiamat. It's like you would think he would have more to say, but no. But the owlbear just seems to really be hitting with him. My favorite characters so far is I'm in kind of a tie myself. I'm I'm in a tie between Rusty and Oates.
Leave my llama out of this.
Well, no,
I'm honored to be in such company.
I like Oates just being the smart one. That's fantastic. But Rusty, it's again. I think all of us on the PC side of it are coming from it as this is so different than the guy you were for the past year and a half, and it's enjoyable seeing this happen. And a lot of my interactions with Gordon for the past year and a half as a player character were that of just teasing each other and being facetiously mean to one another, but then we ended up bonding and stuff like that. And in this one, it's like he's just absolutely different. And it's the conspiracy theories for me. I want to help come up with more wackadoo conspiracy theories.
Please do, man. The well's not quite dry yet, but
one thing I do like about Rusty, I gotta say, is like in our last character, Gordon played a really good antagonist, and just for not any reason other than to just be a complete antagonist.
Yeah.
Whereas Rusty is more of like, conflict? No, I'm good, thanks.
So I think we all want to hear who's Dad's favorite.
Oh,
you know he's not gonna say it.
Yeah, Justin.
as a character. It's not who your favorite player character is, but just character.
character.
Yeah.
We all know I'm the favorite player character. It's all right. You guys don't have to be jealous.
It's get in line. I'm number one.
Okay.
Justin, I'm going to give you a second to find a way to say this.
So
I'm going to jump in and say, for me, the number one character is definitely Harry, and it's correct. I mean, it is what you talked about. It's the fact that we knew him for a year and a half. We played with him. And the most we got from him usually was, "Hey, you kids, get off my lawn."
Yeah, he was totally the get off my lawn guy.
Which we loved.
He was channeling his inner Brian.
And when he told us that he was playing an awakened owl bear, I'm thinking, how do you play an awakened owl bear? How does
Really
Harry
well.
play? And, yeah, and that's the answer. Like he come out,
That's how you do it.
minimalized what he does, and still is knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
But other than that, I really like Daisy. Daisy, for someone who's come into this with little to no experience, she reminds me of all of our characters from our last campaign, right? Very on the nose. If you don't have much experience, you play what you are.
I absolutely want to get more into that, but I want to stop you there because that was something that I wanted to talk about a little bit later in the show.
So we'll go to Dad.
Yeah,
Justin.
I
Dad.
bought you a minute.
Who's
Come
your
on.
favorite character?
you know, thank you, Gordon, for giving me a moment. There's the player characters and then the NPCs, and I know I have to be all the NPCs, so it feels a little strange to include them, but my all-time favorite character has to be Hall, the llama. I mean, he doesn't say anything. He's just pure animal instinct and reaction, and he's just a pure soul.
he's the Ed.
Really
of
good
Hall and
cop
Oates.
out though, Justin. Really.
Thank you.
That was I was gonna say I wasn't expecting a true answer from him anyway. It's okay.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
It's a
But it
branding.
was good, well subdiverted, I would say that.
You've hung out. Who's your favorite character?
I'm in a tie as well. Like
Mhm.
I like Rusty because go Gnomes. I'm total gnome fan. But Haskar is my mood right now, and like how I'm vibing as a parent, I totally vibe with him right now.
I think
Just
Haskar is everyone's
Annoyed with
eventually.
everything.
Annoyed but still
Thank you.
fixing
I
things
appreciate
and
that.
doing things. Yeah.
We're a few years off, but if 2020 was a player character,
It would be Haskar.
Yeah. Totally
Just
would.
overly just pissed off.
Yeah, he's a
And,
good substitute dad right now for Riona.
Kayla, your favorite in both episodes? Haskar?
The first one was Rusty, actually. The first episode because of the jokes
Yeah,
for,
oh yeah.
and the conspiracy theories.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotta love that.
Like Brian
but
in real life, Haskar grew on you.
but for the
Thanks,
first
sir.
episode, it was a toss up between two. Rusty was one of my favorites, but I also adored. Oh, it was an NPC. The one that had Daisy tied up.
Oh, the bad guy.
Yes, the bad guy. I adored him too.
I did not give him a name. I did not give for the
thank
first
you for
episode,
answering that question, Justin.
NPC number 1.
Soon to be Al Meat.
I intentionally did not give him a name, nor did I give
I
anyone
was sad
really
when he died.
names.
He was Shish Kebab. That was his name.
I know. I was sad when he died. I was like, oh, he was a good one. Well, not
so-
good in the sense of good person, but
No,
good in
he
the sense
was,
that
he was definitely a thug trying to make his way up the chain. But yeah, I intentionally did not give anybody a name in the first episode, simply because first game of a new campaign and all the players are worried about their own characters.
Mhm.
So I didn't feel like I should burden them with too much information. But if they were like, oh, what is that one guy? The one that did this? Oh yeah, he was over in this area. Go
Well,
find him.
not to mention we were level 0.
Right.
Yeah.
Which
And
brings up an
so
interesting
let's wrap this up with Chris.
I think it's also a tie between Rusty and the owlbear. And I can't wait to see like more of their interactions together, because I think it'll just be very fun for the owlbear to just be talking to Rusty and not really understanding too much of what he is talking about.
That does it. I'm turning Torsten into an edgelord.
He's
He's too
You guys
happy.
never win, man. You know that. Come on.
I was just gonna say the pure good guys never win. I'm just gonna make him. Oh, my face hurts all the time.
Just to
I
add
was
something to that, though,
stolen
Mongo,
by demons.
I'm actually looking forward to seeing when your character just crumbles, though, because it's going to horribly. I don't think you can pull off the good guy that long with the group that you're in. I really don't.
You,
I'm waiting for Riona to crack with her happiness.
You underestimate my acting, and that's okay.
I'd give it another 3 episodes.
challenge
you also-
accepted.
I would say you also don't know how, we all know our DM. You know he's gonna break you.
Well, so that's something that I wanted to talk about, and then this will include Daisy, because first I wanted to gush and give a moment to point out that Daisy is like newcomer.
Mhm.
Like this is her first real D&D game, right?
Yep.
And I mean she's absolutely nailing it to the wall, owning her character. One of my favorite things when I first started playing D&D back in second edition, back when it was a board game, the rules said when you're making your player character and you don't know what to make yourself. Be a heightened version of yourself. If your life didn't have any rules, who would you be? And she has taken to that like a duck to water. As a matter of fact, I hear she weighs as much as a duck. So we're gonna keep her out of Texas.
Mattis, Texas.
We're gonna stop there. We're not bad mouthing Texas or any states. But what I would like to do is we can continue our chat, but I'm going to give our special guests a chance to say any last comments or any questions you might have. And then I will give you the ability or option to go ahead and leave the chat. I know Brandy is handling a few things there. My beautiful little goddaughter, Brooklyn. Hi,
It's like
baby.
it's called legs and arms and face to be eaten.
Yeah. So if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and we can ask them now. Brandy, did you have any other questions or comments?
I just love the name of the campaign, the channel or whatever, the Mid Dice Crisis.
Yep.
Oh.
Harry came up with that.
1000% Harry.
Our owlbear.
Yeah, you should have heard some of the other
Yeah, they were-
ideas we had for the names.
I only dropped like what 4 or 5 ideas, and Harry was like Mid Dice Crisis, and all of us just
We're done.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
We dropped
That's the
about
one.
30 other ideas. Most of
You
them were
guys might-
irrelevant and not realistic, but
Yeah. And being the youngest in the group, which is a first for me, I feel it. I'm as old as you guys are, and I love it because I hate people my age. Even Brandy's older than me, and I love her to death. You my little baby.
Well,
But yeah.
Brandy, thanks for coming.
Mhm.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me, and I'm looking forward to the next, episodes.
They'll be on Sunday, and
Sundays
then
at 7 o'clock.
this. Yep, and
Central
this
Time?
episode will be posted at 6 o'clock on Fridays.
And we really appreciate all of you watching.
Yes.
It means a lot to us. It's something we've been talking about doing, and it's a lot of fun. And I know it's, kind of like Critical Role, but we appreciate you watching us be geeks and dumbasses as we
Having fun.
try to, not kill each other as we try to kill everything else.
If I had the time, I'd be geeking out too. So I mean,
Awesome.
Yeah.
I've got my file folder here, all kitty stuff. So
All right.
We'll give Chris a chance to say his last piece.
I'm just really excited to see where this campaign is going to go and see what you guys do and see how you guys are going to be tortured throughout.
I'm excited about that too, because I have no idea.
Oh, thank you for having me. Hope you guys have a good night.
You have a wonderful night and stay cool out there in Vegas. I know it's still pretty hot.
I will try.
Thanks, buddy.
Kayla, do you have any final comments or questions?
The only thing I have is that I'm looking forward to see how the characters progress.
We definitely are too.
I think we're all
Definitely.
trying to figure that out still.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was an honor to have all of you guys. And if you want, you can go ahead and log off or keep staying on while we chat and keep talking about the campaign. Not going to kick you out, just letting you know we're going to start talking more deep into the characters and campaign.
You don't have to go home, but you can also stay here.
Yeah.
But really, thank you for joining us, guys. It means a lot to all of us. It really does.
So back on the gushing on Daisy thing. Was
Back on the daisy chain. Wait.
Yeah. Was Daisy ever an actress or anything like that?
No, she was not. We actually knew each other growing up in the backwoods of Oklahoma, and she was my first bully. So immediate bond, edge. But yeah, we actually became very good friends, and what got me involved in, I guess you would say, the world of and idea of fantasy was she liked a comic book called ElfQuest. And so she let me borrow some of the comic books to read, and it just got me hooked into the idea of elves and high fantasy and roaming the world in search of things. And we used to go out into the backwoods, literally, since I grew up in the like 80 acres of forest, and we would play ElfQuest, pretend. And so we have a lot of practice that way, but outside of that, no, not really.
Right on. Because I know you and I are both theater kids.
Yeah.
And that's, I was trained in method acting, so that's why I laugh at Brian when he's like, I can't wait to watch Torsten break, because just as with Grobthar, in all of my off time, I do a lot of thinking about who's my character. Like I try to live parts of my life as Torsten, and like where's his mind? What's he grabbing onto? Is it all just youthful zealousy and exuberance? Is it after his run in with the demons and still standing tall in his faith? Is he, like can he take it? Can he hack it? And that's something that I ask myself constantly, and I will continue to play him. So just like you saw Grobthar break down a couple of times, like this Grobthar break down a couple of times while playing my role. I'm pretty sure there will be some emotionally driven moments.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I absolutely love whenever I can throw something out there that'll tug on your actual heartstrings
Oh, you're the
and
worst about
stay
that.
in character. I love that.
The only time I like on last campaign that only really got me was our last game. That was
Mhm.
super hard because
Well,
me and Eddie had been literally communicating back and forth all day about like literally all week.
Mhm.
What's going to happen? What are you going to do? What am I going to do? And then we're like trying to figure out, and then it's like everything went sideways as soon as it started because
Of course it does.
Justin was like, "Oh no, we're not going to play any of your expectations. We're going to do this." And this so far the campaign, it's a lot of fun. It's because it's like I think we're all literally trying to figure out where we're standing because Haskard just doesn't give a hell. He rolls with the punches and keeps going. And his main antagonist, unfortunately, is Riona because that's the only person he actually gives a damn about. So he just watches out for her, and whatever she does, he's unfortunately being drugged along like a puppy because it's the only life string he has anymore. But
I did. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Have you watched the show?
have I watched the show?
Have you watched the second episode?
Yeah,
Okay, so you know
He was
where
in the second
Haskar is.
episode.
I was in the second episode.
It's-
It was the last one I missed.
I'm an
you stay
idiot.
quiet over there. I will say this. I love leaving holes in my backstory. Last one was I don't know who my parents are. And then Justin was like, haha, your mom's a bitch. And in this one, I left an opening of my dad went to war. Have fun with it. I gave no backstory about my dad. I didn't even have a name. And he has rolled with
I'll be
it
right
and
back,
he is
guys.
throwing some punches at me. And I'm ready for that emotional trauma. Oh, wait, TikTok. Emotional damage. I'm waiting for it.
And I appreciate because I guess part of it I know is because you know me so well, Justin, that you not only do you know how to pluck at the heartstrings of whatever character I'm playing, but you also know me well enough and what plucks on my brain, and by all means continue to use that against me. I will continue to react in character, because I'm you're not gonna break me, old man. But that's another thing that I would put out there is that as a player character, if you feel your DM is like focusing on like attacking you personally, like Justin does a lot to me. He doesn't attack me.
Do
He
you
doesn't.
really feel that victimized? Because I can
No.
guarantee he does it to all of us.
Yeah, well, and that's just the thing. At our last campaign, the first time Gropsar got to see his dream and then realized it was all a trick, and like that particular scene, the way that played out, it played out beautifully. And again, if someone if someone were writing a novel about it, it would sell 1 billion copies. But after that session of playing, I had to stay behind and talk to Justin and be like, dude, oh my God, you know what that took out of me to do that one. And I think that's one of the first times he's ever apologized for going as far as he does. But I love being pushed like that, and I love that you're not afraid to push like that to get the reaction out of your players.
Well, I think that raises a good point as far as, I mean, I enjoy pushing my players. If this was so-called traditional D&D where you're in a dungeon, there's goblins, next there's maybe hobgoblins or bugbears, and then something bigger, and each room gets progressively harder. It's just a slog through a dungeon. And we have things in our lives that legitimately affect us. That's one of the reasons why we play Dungeons and Dragons. And I love it. But I hear horror stories out there of, yeah, I've got a really good DM, but they like verbally assault me every single game. I mean, it's for the game. It's no. If you're in a situation like that, get out, find someone else. I was very lucky. I moved to a new state after living more than half my life in the last one. And I looked and looked and looked and didn't find anybody until somebody was like, yeah, I could use a player. And they weren't the best DM. They were writing a novel. But I did meet some very interesting people like Brian and Gordon and Eddy. And when that group dissolved, and it dissolved quickly, thankfully, they reached out to me and said, hey, you still want to play? I'm like, yeah, I still want to play. We need a DM. Oh, I'll do my best.
To be fair,
We
it was, you were kind of thrown at DMing because I was already DMing 2 other games at the time, and it was like I cannot do a third. But you stepped up, and honestly, we wouldn't be here right now if it hadn't been for you stepping up on it.
In that case, I apologize.
Yeah, us too for getting you involved. Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm just immensely grateful that you guys reached out to me after that group dissolved and asked me to join again, because I have never been more blessed to know you guys. You've helped me through a lot of depression of moving up here to Washington after being stationed here.
Yeah,
pretty
that
lonely.
fatal one shot.
Mhm.
You're gonna make me cry.
Well, yeah, no, you guys have really helped a lot. Being able to know every Sunday I'm gonna have friends I can talk to and hang out with. You helped me through a lot of dark times when I moved up here, because I knew no one. I had no one. All I had was my husband, and he was pulling 16-hour days in the with the Air Force. So being able to hang out with you guys and play with you has really helped me with my emotional and mental state.
Yeah, we feel the same, honestly. For those that say D&D shouldn't be used for therapy, it's still therapeutic.
I was gonna say,
And
It's
why would you?
100% therapeutic.
yeah,
What idiot says don't use it for therapy?
The same people who says we're gonna
Air
summon a
Force.
demon.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like,
We've tried that multiple times. It hasn't
It,
worked.
it doesn't work. I got
Really?
my candles out and everything. Nothing works.
you really, you're
Okay, so now that we're past the emotional stuff,
Yeah.
let's get to the serious stuff.
Okay, because you only get 10 more minutes and then I'm cutting you guys off.
Which one of us is going to be the first to die?
Oh,
Oh,
I honestly think it's going to be Riona. I don't want her to die, but the naiveness and her happiness, I feel like she's going to die. If not, Haskar saving Riona.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
it's gonna be, it's either gonna be Haskar not reluctantly saving Riona, but like, like that would be, what actually kicks him into his rage and gets him to be, upset about something, or it's going to be Torsten trying to do something heroic but stupid.
Well, see, and Haskar actually likes Torsten. He actually does, even though he's religious. Haskar's not just at least he stands up for something, which Haskar, he reluctantly admires. But yeah, I think it's gonna be Haskar hands down, trying to save Riona from doing something stupid. He's gonna like accidentally fall off a mountain or jump down a well. Oh wait, I already did that.
If
I was
the
like, she's
dwarf
not-
dies from falling off the mountain,
I will say this.
I'm sorry, have you met our DM?
Riona is naive. she's oblivious to the world, but I don't see her walking into walls or tripping and falling off cliffs. It's going to be because she trusts someone that she shouldn't trust. It's because she is in it's Oates, yep. She's going to trust someone, or she's going to try to help someone, just like in episode 2. She tried to help that guy out of the well, didn't think about it, just stuck her hand out and got cut for it. She still didn't learn. She's going to keep reaching out and trying to help.
And that's
Unlike
a fantastic trait for a person to have, always wanting to help out. But this is D&D, baby. There's gonna be knives and dragons and
I was gonna
Exactly.
say, and it helps having a healer right to your right side most of the time. So
I'm a druid who heals, but
yeah,
she's a druid who's still learning that she's a druid, which I think is great that I'm playing it that way.
Actually, I thought that was really good. How all of a sudden the llamas start, you accidentally cast speak with animals, and all of a sudden your llamas start talking to you. I was like, that was actually really well. I thought that was really well done. I appreciate that.
I like the narrative that's painted there too, between but between myself and Eddie's character.
Riona.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know why it was like it was right here and then went.
It's the same as when Justin tried to say her last name. It's Hyrath. And just for everyone to know, Hyrath means longing for a home that never existed.
So Riona, she is learning what she is and how she is by accident and by fate and just by the way of nature, and she's both excited and scared. And whereas Torsten, on the other hand, it's like he's finally felt that click, that he's been preparing for his whole life, and now that he feels that connection, he knows exactly what to do, and I think that's a really cool narrative juxtaposition between our characters.
To do this was actually inspired by Justin. The whole starting out at level 0, not having really a backstory, not developing a character to build around a class. I was like, how do you become a druid without knowing what a druid is? So she is going to be learning from this, just the seat of her pants. Just how do I do this?
It's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine, because I've always enjoyed watching things like Critical Role and High Rollers and all those. And I enjoy watching them, but they come into their show or whatever we see as that character. It's like, I am now to give a Critical Role example. Ford in their second campaign was a warlock, and then he's a paladin, and there was a little transition, but I mean, I want to see how do you get from being a level 0 every person to that first level? What is the process? That intrigues me.
It was enjoyable to go from level 0 to level 1. We have 2 clerics now,
Rising.
2 clerics, a druid,
fighters.
2 fighters, and a rogue. Daisy's a rogue, great.
I believe
Ranger rogue is
Owlbear is actually a rogue.
Oh, Owlbear's Owlbear rogue. Okay, that's kind of cool. I can live with that.
There you go.
But I could see
I
him.
thought he was going to be a fighter, though.
That's what I
I
thought
think he
too.
took a level and I think he might be fighter rogue.
Like I just love the idea of him slowly fashioning his nail into a lockpick, sitting there chewing it to the right thing and then
Really,
sticking it
You
in.
don't need to give Harry any more ideas.
I'm trying to push the wizard aspect, because I'd love to see a whiz bear.
Technically, you already have a whiz gnome.
You have a wisdom.
Well, you wouldn't let me play the wizard turtle. No.
Hey, you got a backup character because
I have 7 backup characters, but I still like, hey, how about this one? He's like, absolutely not. That's that's the one thing I will not let you do. Because just for a backstory, I have a tendency to OP my characters really quick, and a wizard wordle would be just horrible.
Yeah. I actually am looking forward to the day where the Wizards of the Coast like reaches out to us and says, "Hey, we want you to mention us because you're popular and cool, awesome." Because right now we're not sponsored by anybody, but Wizards of the Coast, we all use the D&D Beyond, and I have, I think, 3, maybe 4 characters total on my account. Brian has pages.
He's actually seen my character sheets. I have probably, actually, hold on. I will tell you how many I have. I have 25 characters right now.
Oh my God. No, see, I only have 10.
Only 10.
Well,
the DM only has 3 or 4.
I DM my own campaign, and so I have characters for that campaign.
My NPCs are all...
Oh, no. I make my NPCs into characters so that I can maybe use them later if they don't die.
I don't have any backup character whatsoever.
Well, they're not backup characters. They're characters in other campaigns.
I have characters for you. Don't worry.
Well, I got somebody for you.
Hey, I'm putting this out there in the universe. If Riona dies, which I hope she doesn't, knock on wood, my next character, I'm literally going to just roll dice to determine what it is. I'm going to get one of those like generated pages, roll it, and see what the hell it lands on.
Well, my next character is going to be a Hexblade Warlock just to piss Justin off.
All right, you guys, we got about 2 minutes. Is there any last comments?
Actually, I got one comment. We all started literally from a whole bunch of different aspects. You know, me and Gordon were originally in the campaign, and we were both texting back and forth. And I was like, what about that Justin guy? He seems kind of cool. And
I'm like, I can't read him very well. Like,
yeah, exactly.
He gives off, the only thing I got off of him was his former profession.
Yeah.
And like, but emotionally nothing.
Yeah. And it's like, so I reached out to Justin, and he's like, oh, hell yeah, I'm down for whatever. And that's snowballed it. And we talked for a couple of days, and then all of a sudden I was like, well, let's just do this. And all of a sudden, hey, I got someone I want to bring in, which was Mongo, which was awesome. And it was a really good start to a really good friendship. And that's what I really love about D&D. It brings people that have no reason to know each other together, and it can create really good friendships. And that's literally what I think of all of you guys. They're all my friends. And I really appreciate this game, especially during what we just went through with COVID and we're still going through. That brought us all together and gave me some really good friends. Speaking of bringing us all together, I know that, well, I know, but our audience may not know. There's more of us living in one state, but 2 of our players do not live in the same state. So that's why we're doing the Zoomy thing. However, there are machinations in place, and someday we will all be here playing together. Well, maybe not there, but somewhere in this state we'll all
no, we're all going to cram into that tiny little sound box that Justin has, and we're all just going to be extra close together.
I like y'all, but I don't like y'all that much.
4 by 8 by 8.
I don't think me and Mongo would fit in there.
Dibs on top.
Dibs on bottom.
All right, we're going to end this.
Dibs on everywhere in between.
We're going to end this with a little funness for you guys. I wanted to let you know that we are up to 21 subscribers on our YouTube channel.
That is awesome.
And that our first episode,
half of them are us, but
well, half of them are us, but on our first video, we have over 100 views, and it's only been about a week and a half.
Which is phenomenal. And
Awesome.
And I
really
mean,
like that.
someone's watched it from beginning to end,
I know.
105, not just halfway.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's crazy.
And I gotta say, I can't honestly watch the whole episode. I don't like watching myself.
Put it on 2 times speed, and then you hear squeaky voices, but it helps to take notes.
we are great at 1.5.
What kills me is though I'll fast forward to my sections and then I stop for everyone else. So it's like
Do you just want to watch yourself?
So really, you only have about an hour of material to listen to.
No, not you're thinking of last campaign. New
Yeah.
campaign, I got about 3.5 hours to listen to.
Yeah, he doesn't talk much.
All
Thank
right,
you guys
well,
for everything. Really, this has been a lot of fun.
well, we're gonna wrap up this episode of Mid Dice Crisis Hotline. We want to thank Justin and Gordon and Brian for joining us. My co-host Eddie. We're gonna be doing this weekly. These will
Nope,
be
bi-weekly.
bi-weekly. Sorry,
So twice a week.
How dare
Twice a month.
Yeah, twice a month.
That'd be bi-monthly then,
Which is
not bi-weekly.
awesome. What?
Whatever. Bi-monthly. You
I
bi-monthly, my
was the
foot up
rules
your
were-
butt.
See what I'm dealing with? See what I'm
New
dealing with?
character, baby.
But yeah, I just want to thank you guys for coming, being a part of it. Want to thank our three special guests that came
Yep,
came
very
out
much.
and asked
Thank you.
questions and told me my character sucks and everybody else's is awesome.
They didn't say you suck, that you just get
Stop being-
don't be hateful.
Stop being awful stupid.
No, and of course we want to thank our sponsors, the King's Nuts, now also making the Queen's Tarts. So if you've had enough of the King's Nuts in your mouths, why not try the Queen's Tarts?
Keep your eyes open. There is a King's Nut video coming up.
So bad. Just so
Um,
bad.
So everyone
much
knows,
forward.
if you ever want to reach out to us, we have a Facebook page, a Twitter, and a TikTok. If you want to be a part of our hotline and want to be as a special guest, go ahead and reach out to us on any of those social media platforms, and we'll just invite you on over and you can ask your questions.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until next time, friends,
Hit the bell. Bing.
stay alive.
Yes.
Stay well.
Stay
Love your
indoors.
faces.
Love you all.
What you can do about it.
Good night, my buddies.